Chat. No intro once again today. No round of applause, hand claps, and all of that. You know what I mean? We getting straight to it. Instantly, bro. So first off, oh yeah, I forgot. Youngboy and Keef, they got a song together, whatever. But I want to watch this whole little situation. You know what I'm saying? It ain't even a situation. I'm saying Youngboy 2026 real estate collection rap thread. I'm finna click on this real quick and see
Man,
how valid this is, though. This is elite pocket watching. Gravedigger Mountain is different from the first house. Really inspiring, my dude. Great documentary. Where you found that info that says he's worth 500 million? If true, that's crazy and inspiring as hell. He is worth more than that. If dude was worth that much, trust me, you would know. Right? What the fuck? It's definitely true, if not more. Young boy worth 500 million. I ain't gonna say. I don't know. Shit, hey. It's all about the world. Big U, life is over after new info guarantees life in prison. Oh, that might be more interesting. And then the podcast that just ruined Corla Ray's life with her slow ass. I'm instantly gonna do a reaction to that. Chief Keef responded to hotel members dissing him for linking with Youngboy. I don't rock with old block no more. DDG Capaholic situation is sad. Ah, yeah, so, matter of fact, let's do this. We watching this.
Chief Keef just did the unthinkable. He linked.
Let's see, man. Rap Thread be coming through. I really do still think this is an AI reaction page, low key, but who knows? Well, I don't for surely know. So, shit, hey. Like, comment, subscribe. Fuck you talking about?
Linked up with NBA Youngboy, O-Block's biggest op, and now his own block is planning on backdooring him. OTF members are going crazy on social media, saying they don't mess with Sosa no more, and this beef is about to get deadly. But here's what y'all don't know. Keef been done with O-Block for years, and today we're breaking down exactly why he turned his back on the block that made him famous. Chief Keef was the king.
Smoking dope with boss top, and he told her to take 90 and that same nigga backdoored this nigga, broke in this house, stole motherfucking Pampers from KK, all types of shit, nigga. When that nigga first got rich, which was the perfect time for the nigga to do it, cause that just let me know, damn, you this thirsty before I really start stacking my damn money, nigga. The money just start coming in, and you thirsty to come to your own man's crib and steal Pampers and shit, and all types of shit, clothes and everything from your brother. I'm literally, yo, you nigga, you the main name in all my music. Smoking dope with boss top. Some boss top. Then niggas turn around, back dorm, and right after that, guess what boss top was able to do? Go right back to the hood. Guess who all knew he did this? The hood. Guess who ain't do nothing, say nothing, and give a fuck unless you was a part of Glow Gang? The hood. You ain't seen Sosa give a fuck about no shit with Dirk. No shit with Reese, nothing, cause all of them niggas after that, they probably was all still locked in cool with Boss Top. You see Young Chop right here, this nigga, he locked up right now. I don't know what the hell happened to his mental health. Young Chop started tripping and tweaking. And Sosa, the only nigga that's been out the way piece, they got the most shit to say about him. Everything. I'ma be Sosa in life. Like, everybody I'ma pay the way, and then I'ma just do me. And everybody gonna be having shit to say, talk, and I still ain't gonna never give a fuck. Cause y'all gonna be in the same position while I ain't really gotta worry about shit y'all gotta worry about. Y'all can't even touch me if y'all want to, bro. I'm be honest. If I don't never come and stand in that state, how y'all gonna touch me? Y'all can barely afford to come where I'm at. Even if y'all Google my house and my address and then try to come and fly out here, mud. That's too much money for y'all. $700 plane ticket just to come. You ain't got that for real, nigga. You feel me?
King of O-Block, the drill legend who put Chicago on the map, but his relationship with his own block went from love to straight betrayal. The recent link-up with NBA Youngboy didn't just make OTF mad, it exposed years of hidden beef that's been brewing behind the scenes. To understand how Sosa went from O-Block royalty to their biggest enemy, we gotta go back to where it all started and break down the real story that nobody talks about. Let's rewind to the early 2000s when Chief Keef was just Keith Cozart, a young shorty from Parkway Gardens, better known as O-Block. Back then, Keef was tight with all the homies. King Von, Boss Top, Trey 5, and the whole gang. These weren't just rap associates, fam. These were his day ones who he grew up with in the trenches. The bond between these dudes was real. They were all black disciples, all from the same block, all grinding together in an environment where loyalty meant everything. Keef was already showing his musical talent, freestyling on that karaoke machine, while Von was building his reputation in the streets. Boss Top was like the big homie who everybody looked up to, and Trey 5 was known as one of the most dangerous members of the crew. This was before the fame, before the money, when they were just young dudes trying to survive in one of Chicago's most violent neighborhoods. They had each other's backs through shootouts, police raids, and all the chaos that came with street life. When one of them got locked up, the others would pool their money together to get him out. When someone needed protection, the whole crew would ride. Keef and King Von had that special connection though. Von was already making noise in the streets while Keef was perfecting his sound. They used to hang out all the time, both of them young and wild, getting into all types of activities that we can't even talk about on camera. But that brotherhood was real. They were more like brothers than friends. But here's where everything changed. When Keef dropped I Don't Like in 2012, that track didn't just go viral. It revolutionized the entire rap game. We're talking about a song that created drill music as we know it today. The video got millions of views. Kanye West remixed it, and suddenly every major label was trying to sign this teenager from Chicago. When that Interscope deal hit for reportedly $6 million, Keef went from being broke in the projects to having more money than most people see in a lifetime. But here's the thing that started the problems. Success changed how Sosa moved. The first thing he did was get the hell out of Chicago and head straight to LA. Now you gotta understand the mentality in O-Block. When one of your own makes it big, there's an expectation that he's gonna bring the whole crew with him. That's the unwritten rule in the hood. You don't leave your day ones behind when you blow up. But Keef made a calculated decision that would haunt his relationships forever. Instead of bringing Von, Boss Top, and the rest of O-Block with him, Sosa only took his blood relatives, his cousins Tato and Ball Out from Glow Gang. From a business perspective, this made sense. Family is family, and Keef probably felt like he could trust his cousins more than anyone else. But from a street perspective, this was seen as the ultimate betrayal. The homies back in O-Block started feeling some type of way immediately. Here's their boy who they protected, who they rode for, who they helped build up, and when he gets his shot at the big time, he acts like they don't exist. That's when the resentment started building. According to sources close to the situation, O-Block members were expecting Keef to put them on his payroll, help them get record deals, or at least bring them to LA to be part of his crew. But Sosa was moving different. He was trying to completely separate himself from the street life that made him famous in the first place. You can't really blame Keef for wanting to stay safe and legal. The man had just signed a multi-million-dollar deal, and getting involved in street politics could have jeopardized everything. But the homies didn't see it that way. To them, it looked like success had made their boy forget where he came from. Now here's where things got real ugly, and this is the incident that made Sosa completely cut ties with O-Block forever. One of their most respected members, Trey 5, got locked up on a serious case and needed $25,000 for bond money to come home. This wasn't just any regular member. Trey 5 was allegedly one of O-Block's most dangerous shooters, someone who had put in serious work for the block over the years. The homies tried everything to get that bread together. They were out there grinding hard, trying to rob people, hitting licks, doing whatever they had to do to raise the money. But after weeks of hustling, they only managed to scrape together about $18,000. They were $7,000 short, and time was running out. That's when they reached out to their rich homie, Chief Keef. From their perspective, this should have been an easy decision. Sosa was making millions, and $7,000 was pocket change to him. Plus, this was for Trey 5, someone who had allegedly protected Keef back in the day when he was just another young dude in the hood. At first, Keef said he would handle it, no problem. The homies were relieved, thinking their day one was about to come through for the crew like he was supposed to. They probably started making plans for when Trey 5 came home talking about how Sosa was still solid despite all the changes, but then Keef just went completely ghost on them. Wouldn't answer phone calls, wouldn't respond to text messages, wouldn't even acknowledge their existence. Meanwhile, this man was on Instagram and Twitter flexing his lifestyle, posting pictures of expensive cars, jewelry, and even bragging about buying a four-wheeler for $10,000, which was more than they needed to get their homie out of jail. The disrespect was unreal. Here they were, desperately trying to help their friend, and their rich homie was ignoring them while flashing money on social media. That's when the anger really started building in O Block. They felt played, disrespected, and abandoned by someone they had considered family. When it became clear that Keef wasn't going to help, Boss Top, King Von, and other O Block members decided to take matters into their own hands. They weren't just gonna let their homie sit in jail while Sosa ignored them, so they planned something that would change their relationship forever. They were gonna rob Chief Keef. This wasn't some random break-in by strangers. This was his own homies, people he grew up with, people who knew where he lived and how he moved. They broke into the crib that Keef was renting with his manager, and when they got inside, they went crazy. We're talking about a full-scale robbery, fam. They took jewelry, clothes, shoes, and even petty stuff like deodorant and his daughter's diapers. But the most disrespectful part was when Boss Top allegedly snatched Keef's chain right off his neck during the whole situation. That's not just theft, that's a symbolic act of dominance.
They always say, motherfucker be trying to talk shit. I always do this. I don't care. Motherfucker be trying to talk shit in my comments. Boy, I am a great reactor. Y'all see, I be knowing what I'm talking about. And if I don't say nothing. I spoke this shit and then boom. You feel me? Like, I know.
Dominance, showing that they didn't respect him as their leader anymore. But here's where the situation got really dangerous. During this robbery, one of Keef's homies got shot. We don't know all the details about how that went down, but the fact that gunshots were fired shows how serious this situation became. This wasn't just a petty theft anymore. This was a violent confrontation that could have ended with someone dead. After they robbed Sosa and got what they needed, they used that money to bond out Trey 5. So in their minds, they accomplished their goal. They got their homie out of jail. But the damage to their relationship with Keef was irreversible. The brotherhood was broken forever, and there was no coming back from what had happened. Keef's ex-manager allegedly called the police during the robbery, but when the cops showed up, nobody would cooperate with the investigation. That's the street code. You don't talk to police, even when you're the victim. But the silence didn't mean forgiveness. Sosa knew exactly who had violated him, and he would never forget it. But the robbery wasn't even the worst part of this whole situation. According to multiple sources and deep analysis of the street politics, King Von allegedly took out Keef's cousin Blood Money. And this is where things get really dark and complicated. Blood Money, whose real name was Markel Holmes, was Chief Keef's cousin and a member of his Front Street crew. He was tragically killed in April 2014, and for years, rumors swirled about who was responsible and why it happened. The official story was that it was part of the ongoing gang war between different Chicago factions, but the streets had a different theory. According to street sources and analysis of social media posts from that time period, King Von's name kept coming up in connection to this incident. Now, this is where things get really complex because there were multiple theories about what really went down. One theory suggests that Von was retaliating for something Blood Money had done. Another theory, which is even more disturbing, suggests that Von killed Blood Money as a way to hurt Chief Keef personally. Remember, this happened around the same time that the relationship between Keef and O Block was falling apart. Here's what makes the situation even more suspicious. After Blood Money got killed, Von posted some cryptic messages on social media that seemed to reference the situation. One post said, "I'm King Von from the O from O Block, I run shit," which was basically him quoting a line from a Blood Money track but flipping it to claim dominance over the situation. The timing of these posts was crazy too. A female named Kai, who was allegedly involved in Blood Money's death according to some rumors, got killed just days before Von made that post. Some people think Von was celebrating taking out the person who allegedly killed Blood Money, but others believe Von himself was directly involved in Blood Money's death. Jay Hood, who's connected to the streets and has done multiple interviews about Chicago politics, said that Von and T-Roy were following Boss Top's lead during this time period. If Boss Top had serious issues with Keef and wanted to send a message, Von and T-Roy would have been the ones to handle it. The most disturbing part of this theory is that it suggests Von didn't just rob Keef, he allegedly killed his family member. That's crossing a line that can never be uncrossed, and it would explain why Keef's hatred for his former homies runs so deep. Here's how we know for sure that Keef was completely done with Von and O Block. When King Von got killed in Atlanta in November 2020, Chief Keef never posted a single RIP message. Not one post, not one Instagram story, not even a simple rest in peace tweet. This is the same dude he grew up with, the same shorty he used to hang with every day, and Sosa acted like Von never existed. That silence spoke volumes, no cap. In hip-hop culture, especially in Chicago, when someone from your circle dies, you show love publicly. It's almost mandatory. You post pictures, share memories, talk about the good times. The fact that Keef didn't acknowledge Von's death at all confirmed what the streets already knew. Their relationship was dead long before Von got killed. Even more telling, Von had mentioned in interviews that he and Keef had recorded music together back in the day, but Keef never released any of those tracks. That's how deep the beef went. Sosa would rather let potentially good music sit in the vault forever than give Von any shine or make any money off their past relationship. When other Chicago rappers like Lil Durk, Polo G, and even Rivals were posting tributes to Von, Keef's silence was deafening. It was like he was saying, "I don't care that this person is dead," without actually saying it. That's cold. But it shows how hurt and angry Keef still was about everything that had happened between them. Fast forward to 2024, and Chief Keef just did something that sent shockwaves through the entire Chicago drill scene. He linked up with NBA Youngboy in the studio and recorded music together. Now, for those who don't understand the politics, this wasn't just Keef making music with any random artist. This was him linking with Lil Durk and OTF's biggest enemy.
But look though, that's the whole thing behind it. One, if y'all already didn't snake them. He don't rock with y'all, so how do y'all feel like y'all opinion matter? He ain't rocked with y'all in 10 plus years, bro. Why would y'all feel entitled to speak on him linking with Youngboy because the situation with Von? I get what y'all saying, but pretty much from, if any of this is true, y'all all was backdooring this man repeatedly in different ways, bro. And so y'all mad now that he done linked up with the #1 artist, rap artist in the world, who literally has looked up to him since he was a kid. This is a dream of his. And this is an opportunity for Sosa. Like a motherfucker. But it's more of a blessing to Youngboy. Because Youngboy actually idolizes Chief Keef. That was the first person who he said when he came up, nigga, and was coming up, who he looked up to, Chief Keef. So, like, it's more so like, man, Sosa don't gotta give a fuck about shit them niggas is talking about, bro. Y'all already got him fucked up. He already doing him. He already got his own lane, his own image. You know what I'm saying? His own ideal understanding of what he got going on and what he want to do and produce. So, bro, he don't care what the fuck.
Beef between NBA Youngboy and Lil Durk has been one of the most intense rivalries in hip-hop for years. They've traded diss tracks, their crews have gotten into violent confrontations, and the tension has resulted in real-world consequences. For Keef to suddenly appear in the studio with Youngboy was like dropping a nuclear bomb on Chicago politics. When that studio footage dropped showing Keef and YB together, working on music and looking comfortable with each other, it was clear that this wasn't just a one-time collaboration. These two were building a real relationship, and Keef was making a statement that he didn't care about Chicago's feelings. The timing of this link-up was perfect from Keef's perspective. He had been staying neutral in the Durk versus Youngboy beef for years, probably trying to avoid more drama. But something changed his mind and he decided to finally pick a side. And it wasn't his Chicago homies. When that studio footage hit social media, OTF members and O Block affiliates lost their minds completely. They started posting on Instagram and Twitter, making it crystal clear that they weren't rocking with Sosa anymore. The message was simple but powerful. If you're with Youngboy, you're against us, and there's no middle ground. Some OTF affiliates posted things like, "We don't mess with that type of movement," and made it obvious that Keef had crossed a line they couldn't forgive. After years of staying relatively quiet about their issues with Keef, they were now publicly cutting ties with him. The response wasn't just from random affiliates either. People who were close to the situation, people who knew the real history between Keef and O Block, were speaking out. They were basically saying that this Youngboy collaboration was the final straw, the thing that made it impossible to ever reconcile. What made their response even more intense was the fact that they weren't just mad about the music, they were mad about what it represented. In their eyes, Keef was choosing to work with someone who had been actively beefing with their crew, someone who had dissed their dead homies, someone who represented everything they were against. But Chief Keef's crew wasn't about to let OTF disrespect their leader without clapping back hard. Glow Gang members started responding on social media, and their message was clear. They don't give a single damn about OTF's feelings or opinions. One Glow Gang member posted that they don't care about what OTF has going on, basically telling them to mind their own business and worry about their own problems. The post was dismissive and disrespectful, showing that Glow Gang wasn't intimidated by the backlash at all. Another Glow Gang affiliate was straight up laughing at the whole situation on social media, posting laughing emojis and making jokes about how pressed OTF was getting. They were treating the whole beef like entertainment, which probably made OTF even more angry. But here's the wildest part of Glow Gang's response. One of their members revealed that Keef and Youngboy didn't just make one song together. They allegedly got 6 more tracks in the vault ready to drop. That's not just a one-time collaboration. That's a full partnership, and it's about to get even more serious. The Glow Gang response showed that Keef's team has been winning without OTF's support for years. They've been building their own empire, making their own moves, securing their own bag, and they don't need Chicago's approval to succeed. In fact, they seem to be suggesting that working with Youngboy was going to be more profitable than anything they could do with Chicago artists. This response also revealed something important about how Glow Gang views the situation. They're not seeing this as betrayal, they're seeing this as business. Keef is making moves that benefit his career and his money, and if his old homies don't like it, that's their problem to deal with. Things got even more explosive when Lil Tim, the man who killed King Von in Atlanta, decided to respond to the whole situation on social media. Tim posted content basically co-signing Keef's move to link with Youngboy, and the implications of this were absolutely wild. For the person who took out Von to be publicly supporting Keef's decision to go against OTF, that's some next-level disrespect that goes beyond just music beef. Tim's involvement shows how deep and complicated these street politics really are, and how this situation connects to multiple different conflicts. Tim's support of Keef also suggests that there might be more to the story than we know. Maybe Tim knows something about the history between Keef and Von that makes him feel like Keef's actions are justified, or maybe he's just trying to stir up more drama and keep the beef going. Either way, when Von's killer is publicly supporting your moves against Von's crew, that sends a message to everyone watching. It's like Tim is saying that even he understands why Keef would want to go against his former homies. To really understand why this situation is so explosive, you gotta understand the deeper street politics that have been brewing for years. This isn't just about music or money. This is about respect, loyalty, and codes that people live and die by in Chicago. From Chief Keef's perspective, he has every right to be angry and to move however he wants. His own homies robbed him, allegedly killed his cousin, and never showed him the loyalty he deserved after he put them on the map. He made O-Block famous worldwide, and they repaid him with betrayal and violence. But from O-Block's perspective, Keef abandoned them when they needed him most. He got rich and left them in the trenches, only helping his blood family while his day ones struggled. When they needed bond money for their homie, he ignored them completely, even though he had more than enough money to help. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. Keef probably did get caught up in his success and distance himself from his roots. But O-Block probably also had unrealistic expectations about what Keef owed them and how much he should sacrifice for their benefit. What makes this situation so dangerous is that both sides feel completely justified in their actions. Keef feels like he was betrayed first, so anything he does now is just payback. O-Block feels like Keef betrayed them first, so they were justified in robbing him and cutting him off. This beef between Keef and his former homies also has major implications for the music industry and Chicago's drill scene specifically. Chief Keef is widely considered the godfather of drill music, the person who created the sound and the culture that made Chicago rap famous worldwide. For him to completely turn his back on Chicago and start working with their enemies represents a seismic shift in the power dynamics of drill music. It shows that even the most important figures in the culture aren't immune to the street politics that tear communities apart. The fact that Keef is now working with NBA Youngboy also gives Youngboy more credibility in his beef with Chicago artists. Having the originator of drill music on your side is a major win, and it probably makes Youngboy feel more confident about continuing his conflicts with Dirk and OTF. For Chicago artists, this creates a difficult situation. Do they continue to show love to Keef as the godfather of their sound, or do they cut him off for working with their enemies? Most of them will probably choose loyalty to their current crews over respect for Keef's legacy. Here's why this situation is so dangerous and why it could escalate beyond social media beef. We're talking about real street politics with deadly consequences. When you cross certain lines in Chicago, there can be violent retaliation that goes far beyond music. The fact that OTF members members are publicly cutting ties with Keef shows how serious this is. These aren't just hurt feelings over a business decision. This is about loyalty, respect, and street codes that people have died over. When you go against your own block and link with their biggest enemies, that's considered the ultimate betrayal in street culture. But Keef seems to be past caring about those consequences. He's been living in LA for years, surrounded by security, making moves on his own terms. He's probably calculated that he's safe from any retaliation, and he's willing to risk whatever consequences might come from his actions. The question now is whether this beef will stay in the realm of social media posts and diss tracks, or whether it will escalate to something more serious. Given the history of violence in Chicago drill culture, and given how personal this beef has become, there's always a risk that things could get deadly. What makes this even more concerning is that this beef involves multiple different conflicts that are all connected. You've got the Keef versus O-Block situation, the Dirk versus Youngboy beef, and the ongoing violence between different Chicago factions. When all of these conflicts start intersecting, the potential for violence increases dramatically. At the end of the day, Chief Keef's decision to link with NBA Youngboy represents the final break between him and his Chicago roots. After years of tension, betrayal, and unresolved beef, Sosa has officially chosen his side, and it's not with the block that made him famous. This isn't just about one studio session or one song. This is about years of built-up resentment finally boiling over. Keef is showing the world that he doesn't need O-Block's approval, he doesn't need OTF's support, and he's willing to work with their biggest enemy to prove it. The streets are watching, the fans are divided, and this beef is far from over. With 6 more songs allegedly in the vault, Keef and Youngboy are just getting started with their collaboration. Meanwhile, OTF and O-Block are making it clear that there's no coming back from this betrayal. What's really sad about this whole situation is how it shows the destructive nature of street politics and hip-hop. Here you have Chief Keef, someone who could have been a unifying figure for Chicago, instead becoming an enemy of his own city. The same streets that made him famous are now turned against him, and there's probably no way to fix that relationship. For the younger generation of Chicago artists, this situation serves as a cautionary tale about the importance of loyalty and the consequences of betrayal. It shows how quickly relationships can turn toxic when money, fame, and street politics get involved. And the broader hip-hop community is also watching this situation closely because it represents larger themes about authenticity, loyalty, and the relationship between artists and their communities. Keef's decision to prioritize his own interests over his hometown loyalty will probably influence how other artists handle similar situations in the future. One thing's for sure, the Chicago drill scene will never be the same. The king of O-Block has officially become their enemy, and in a city where loyalty means everything, that's a line you can't uncross. This situation is about to get even more intense as more music drops and more people choose sides. The fact that this beef involves so many different layers, personal betrayal, street politics, industry competition, and regional pride, means that it's going to continue generating drama for months or even years to come. Every new song, every social media post, every public appearance is going to be analyzed for signs of escalation or reconciliation. But based on everything we know about the history between these parties, reconciliation seems impossible. Too much has happened, too many lines have been crossed, and too much pride is at stake for anyone to back down now. So we'll be here to break down every development as it happens because this story is far from over. Chief Keef just lit the fuse on a situation that's been building for a decade, and now we're all waiting to see what explodes next. In Chicago, these types of beefs don't just fade away, they define careers, destroy relationships, and sometimes end lives. The only question now is how far this will go, and whether anyone will be able to stop it before it reaches a point of no return. But knowing the history of Chicago drill culture, and knowing how personal this beef has become, we're probably just seeing the beginning of a war that could last for years. Stay tuned because this situation is about to get even more explosive, and we'll be here to break down every twist and turn as it happens.
Man, Sosa gonna do what he do. Youngboy gonna do what he do, man. And the public gonna always have opinions and hate and be trying to speak on shit they can't speak on. And it don't even matter. You feel me? Like, you ain't even supposed to really care, especially motherfuckers done backdoored you and did you wrong. Like, hell nah, bro. That's the collab motherfuckers low-key been waiting for. Like, you feel me? A lot of true fans, like, that's Youngboy's idol. You know what I'm saying? So, you know,
Higher than a bitch, I'm off the oil, they don't get it. Running up my money, I'm getting my money. I'm talking my chicken, her little bitch be talking that shit, but her time told that bitch to